As teachers, we're looking at ways like, how instructional design, and a lot of times there's a lot of, articles and so on and so forth. But I thought just to make things simple and saying, what makes it different from a teacher classroom-centered instruction design to student learning-centered instructional design? So I thought some questions to kind of brings out just so you can look at the difference. Hopefully we'll post these questions up also. But the first one you'll see is that teacher classroom-centered instructional design. The first question would be from a teacher and classroom-centered instructional design is focus on the activities, right? So we're looking at the activities that we're doing. Second one's focus on teacher performance, how the teacher is going ahead. No doubt about these are important too, but just to kind of see the mindsets, I'm going to give you both options. Number 3 is focus on classroom events and experiences, right? So we're looking at what's happening in the classroom and the events. And again, no doubt about it, there are some things that can make connections with the students. But the fourth question that kind of helps you really understand is burning question. What will be doing today, right? Just overall, kind of okay, this is the activity for today. Number 5 is addresses only with teachers' time with students, right? So I got 40 minutes. What can I get across? What will I do today? What's the program? And hopefully kids will understand it, right? So it's kind of like, yes, you have maybe an objective, you put it in mind, this is what you're gonna do, but it's kind of like, I have this time, I'm just gonna do this activity and see what happens and see if they could get it done. But what kind of the opposite of this would be something like student and learning centered instructional design. And what would be some of the questions like that I want you guys to think about? Focus on what kind of thinking students do. What kind of thinking students do is one of the things that you'll be focusing on. Okay, what's going to be happening? What's the critical thing? What's the thought process they'll have? Because one of the ways great learning is happening with the engagement they have, like the back and forth. When you don't have engagement back and forth, you might not know if what they're doing is really good or not, right? The second is focus on intellectual skills students develop. So you want to make sure the skills that they're developing and the intellectual thing is like, hey, what are they learning? So now it's just not the critical thinking skills, but there are some intellectual skills that they might develop. And if they're lower grades, it might be some gross motor skills, social skills, whatever it is. But the idea of really kind of thinking about that and say, in this lesson, what would happen here? The third one, what kind of plays a part is focus on what students take away from the classroom events and experiences. So what are they going to take away? So as we do this activity, as we talked about the first one, but what is it that these students are going to take away? Coming back to what is it, the skill sets they're going to get? What kind of critical thinking are they going to get? What kind of events and experiences that they're going to have, right? The other, the burning question that you might have is, what will students be learning today? What will the students be learning, right? And then that kind of helps you understand, saying, hey, they will learn this. To not I'm just going to do this activity and hopefully they're all going to learn and pick it up, to what the students will be learning. And I think that's something that's very important to kind of keep in mind. The next one is planning, addressing long-term outcomes. It's so important to realize what is the planning addressing the long-term outcomes that we do have. What are we trying to get at, and why is that important, right? So, and then you're looking at, hey, by this day I'm trying to do this, by this unit I'm trying to get this, by this quarter I'm trying to get this, by this semester I'm trying to finish this. And I think when we can start looking things at that level, it will kind of help us make sure that we are really looking at our lessons, or when our teachers are looking at it, or if you're the administrator, making sure the teacher's doing it, or if you're an educator right now, what questions are we really asking when we're writing that lesson plan? So kind of keep that in mind. Hopefully that was somewhat beneficial. Take care, have a good day, and keep teaching and working hard.